One. All right, guys. Hey, I am Dr. Jason Bradley, the founder and Chief Medical Officer at Epic Functional Medicine Center in Iowa City, Iowa. And this is Wellness Wednesdays on Wednesday, November 27th. We have a fantastic show for you guys tonight. I have two amazing special guests, Janet and Lauren Crews. I always pronounce Lauren's name Lauren because it's spelled like Lauren, even though she's told me, I think, 300 times that it's Lauren. Janet is a 43-year veteran nurse with tons of experience and left the nursing field about 6 years ago to join her daughter Lauren in Young Living Essential Oils. These guys are very passionate, faith-based people. Essential oils have changed their lives, and they've really helped to transform lots of lives and educate and share that passion with, I don't even know. I'll let these guys tell their story, but thousands of people all around the country and possibly all around the world. Yeah. Both of these guys have compelling stories of why they do what they do. And I'm just so thrilled to have you guys here today. And thank you guys for joining us. You guys know that you're two of my most favorite people on the entire planet. And it's just great to connect with people that have the same passion for transforming lives. So welcome to the show, guys. And I'm going to turn it, right over to Lauren. And since she's the one that drugged Janet into Young Living, I'm just kidding.
Didn't take much.
It didn't take much to get Rachel and I there either, right? But listen, I'm going to let Lauren just tell the story because it is, guys, I'm going to let you guys know, you're going to relate to this story as a parent, as a human being. This story probably, I'm going to just qualify here, it probably has some triggers for some people. It's an emotional story. So I just want everybody to be prepared. I think this is one of the most important stories that's going to be shared on Wellness Wednesdays for who knows how long. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Lauren. Tell me why you got into Young Living. Tell me the story.
Well, we didn't even know. What's crazy is Mom has been doing naturalistic living. I mean, she was always on the more naturalistic side, being a nurse ever since I was born. And so it wasn't always right to the doctor. It wasn't always anything of that. And she was always ahead of the curveball. It was don't use sweet and low. Don't put your phone inside your bra. I mean, she knew it before everyone else posted it. And so what was crazy is, though we knew a lot about naturalistic things, we had never heard about essential oils, which was crazy.
That's crazy.
And so those 6.5 years ago, they weren't in every single store. They weren't in Hobby Lobby and Walmart and Target and all of the, gosh, TJ Maxx is selling them. I mean, they weren't in stores. They were not well known. And so what started our journey into Young Living was a friend reached out to me via social media, Facebook, because of my oldest daughter's health issues that she was having. Now, this is, before we kind of get into it, we're not here to treat, diagnose, cure, anything like that. We're not medical. Well, she's a medical professional. I'm not a medical professional, but
I'm not a physician.
I want to share. It's okay for us to share our stories because this is what happened to us. This is truth. It's not fictional. Anyway, and so when Kylie was, my oldest daughter, who is now 10 years old, when Kylie was 22 months old, she received her 18-month vaccines.
And who begged you?
My mom, ever since I was pregnant with Kylie, my mom begged me not to vaccinate her. Again, my mom was way ahead of the curveball. And again, not into debates with vaccines. This is our story. This is what happened to us. But, and so I went ahead and vaccinated. My husband's in the Army, and so vaccines are pushed very, very heavily, especially onto military families. And so I just went ahead and did it. And so at 22 months old, a couple of days later after her 22-month vaccines, I was getting her dressed in her jammies, and she had a grand mal seizure. And after the grand mal seizure was over, she laid there completely unresponsive. Her eyes were rolled back in her head. Her lips turned completely blue. Her hands turned blue. Her feet turned blue. I literally was shaking her. My husband was away at training at the time, so I was all by myself at the house, and I didn't know what to do. I was literally screaming at the top of my lungs, like, Kylie, wake up, Kylie. Oh, sorry. And so I literally picked up her body and like just limp in my arms, and I jumped in the car, put her on my front lap because I knew I could get to the hospital that was 5 minutes away. faster than an ambulance could get to me. And so got to the hospital, right when they took her back, she came to. And the moment that she opened her mouth.
Great. Thank God, by the way, right?
Yes, thank God.
I mean, seriously.
Yes.
The timing of it, I was putting her jammies on about to put her in bed.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and if you research SIDS and how SIDS came to be and all that, she could have been one of those scenarios.
Yes.
And so, but the moment that she opened her mouth, all that came out was gibberish,
yes.
like baby talk.
Yes.
And she was a very intelligent.
Yes.
I mean, she was so far advanced in her verbal skills.
Yes.
And she opened her mouth and she was trying to communicate with me, and all that came out was like she just could not talk.
Mm-mm.
And you could see it in her mind. She was so scared. And so the doctors kept saying, oh, it's just a side effect of the grand mal seizure, which, yes, that does. Grand mal seizures do affect verbal skills. It'll come back in a couple of hours. So a couple hours passed, nothing came back. Days passed, nothing came back. Weeks passed, nothing came back. And so by the time
throwing fits because she couldn't speak.
She started throwing the worst tantrums because she couldn't communicate with
frustration.
Me. And so by the time she was 24 months old, we went. She started speech therapy 3 times a week. She started a little bit of OT therapy as well because they were concerned about autism and things like that.
Yes.
So I had a once beautiful, healthy, perfect child, and now all of these symptoms, situations happening. So loss of speech, and then she started having what's called benign shuddering attacks. And
we actually thought they were
they
seizures.
mimic seizures.
They look just like it.
And they happen, they're very rare. And so we were in and out of the hospital constantly with EKGs hooked up to her EEGs, hooked up to her EKGs for the heart, EEGs hooked up to her head. And they just were, the doctors just said, oh, she'll grow out of it. And I'm like, but what's the cause?
Right.
What is going on here? And of course they wouldn't correlate the two. We knew what it was. We knew what happened. And so
she always could feel one coming on.
Oh, it was the worst. I remember, do you remember when we were at Olive Garden?
Yes.
We were at Olive Garden once,
blue.
and she was sitting in her little seat or whatnot, and she looked over at me, and I could just see the fear in her eyes, and because she could feel one coming on.
Yeah. And her little hands would get blue, and her feet would get blue.
And so I picked her up, and all I could do was just hold her while her whole body just started going and just shaking.
She had no control.
And so that started. And so we dealt with that for 4 years. For 4 years.
Oh,
for a long time.
Yeah.
And then
even just if she'd wake up in the middle of the night and you'd set her on the commode to go to the bathroom, it would start it.
So sleep deprivation, if she wouldn't get a specific amount of sleep, if she went into stress, if she was overwhelmed, if she was frustrated, it would trigger it. And then about 3 years old started the severe constipation.
Yes. 3.5.
And
about 3,
about 3 started the severe constipation. The worst that she got was she went once 2 weeks without going to the bathroom.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
And I mean, and we tried everything in that 2-week span for her to go to the bathroom, and she wouldn't. And so they admitted her to the hospital. NG2.
So distended. Her stomach.
Oh my God. She was throwing up at that point because nothing was going on. So she was vomiting at that point. So they had to put NG tube down her nose into her stomach, and
they did a CAT scan.
And the radiologist came in and said, I've never seen a child this young have a colon in this bad of shape.
Right.
He said, it's just not moving. There's no peristaltic action. It's just there. And so they started pumping her in the NG tube with adult laxatives. After the 3rd bag of an adult laxative, 2 enemas later, she finally went to the bathroom. And this wasn't just a one-time incident. And so we were admitted to the hospital 2 or 3 times with her. We had already changed her diet. We'd already gone gluten-free, dairy-free, things like that. And it was like nothing put a stent in it. Nothing healed it. There was something wrong. And the doctors just kept saying, there's nothing we can do. Here's the medication.
Right.
And I said, what do you mean there's nothing you can do? And they said, well, she's probably going to have just liquid stool for the rest of her life, diarrhea for the rest of her life. And that's how it's going to be on this medication. She's probably going to have to live with this. And I was like, no, no, that is not the answer that you're
Right.
giving us. And my mom went straight into, I went into panic mode, stress mode.
Mm-hmm.
Like my whole entire mind just shut down because I was told this. Grandma went into full on research mode.
Yes.
And thank
and
God.
Prayer mode.
And prayer mode. Because the nurse in her was like, no, first I'm going to start researching the medication that they put her on, and let's see how quickly we can get her off of it and whatnot. So this whole time I was sharing my story on Facebook with my friends and family of Kylie's journey, whatnot. On the side, I started having panic attacks myself. I could barely function.
She couldn't even drive.
I couldn't drive. So my first panic attack I had was in traffic. And I had to pull off to the side of the road because I just started freaking out. It felt like a brick.
And I was in the car with her. Yeah. I was in the car with her, and she could not, literally, we were living with her at the time, and her husband and Kylie. And it's a good thing we were living with her because she couldn't drive anywhere.
Nowhere.
She couldn't get in a car. She couldn't do anything. And it was that bad. It was that severe.
I was so emotionally distraught about Kylie and about her health. I was barely sleeping at night.
Exactly.
My whole world was crumbling. I couldn't fix my daughter. So I didn't have my life. Well, another stint. So I was desperate. And of course, this is before Young Living and whatnot.
But let's go to this part. While she was in the hospital.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
Before Young Living,
go ahead.
I went to the doctor and sorry. He prescribed me an anxiety medication.
Exactly.
Well, it was for depression, but it also helps for anxiety. I wasn't depressed. I
anxious.
Severe anxiety and panic attacks. But
I always tell my patients when they come in and I've heard similar stories. I unfortunately, I mean, it's this, but I always say, my God, if you weren't anxious and stressed about what's going on, I'm actually more concerned about you.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, but I'll turn it right back to you because this story only gets more tragic, So.
And so she begged me not to go on the medication, but I told her, I said, I can't function. I feel like I'm literally
losing everything,
losing my mind. I can't sleep. I don't have a life. I'm stuck in this house and I'm dependent on you to take us everywhere. And so I started the medication, and 2 weeks after I began that medication, mind you, I wasn't feeling any different. Like 2 weeks later, wasn't feeling any different whatsoever. The doctor's like, oh, it may take up to 6 weeks for you to feel a change. Okay. And so 2 weeks go by. We're back in the hospital with my daughter, Kylie, for another stint of severe constipation.
Same thing.
Same exact thing. NG tube down, same exact thing. And I look over at my mom, and we're at the Children's Hospital in Dallas, Fort Worth. And I look over at my mom and I tell her, something's wrong with me. I can feel it. I don't know how to explain this, but something's wrong. Something's about to happen. You need to go get a nurse now.
That's a good thing I did.
Yeah.
Her head would have hit the ground. I could have held her myself.
I mean, now I understand kind of what my daughter felt. And so my mom's like, okay. And so she runs out, goes and gets the nurse. The nurse comes in, and the moment the nurse came in, I pass out, but I fall forward and I have a grand mal seizure myself. And the nurse catches me. And
the nurse and your mother.
Both of y'all catch me. I don't remember any of this. This is what they're telling me after this. They do a code blue on me. And when I wake up, I have all these people over me asking me, what's your name? Can you say your name? What's your name? And I'm yelling my name in my head, but I can't pronounce my name. And so my mom said how I looked was after someone has a stroke.
Yes.
When one side of your face is really droopy. And so I was saying, ooh, ooh, and I was literally yelling in my head my name, and I could not for the life of me say it. And so they get me on a gurney, and they have to transport me to the adult hospital across the street. Well, my daughter, mind you, like she's seeing all of this that's happening in front of her eyes is going on. And so they have me in that hospital. She's in this hospital across the street, and they take blood work, and my white blood count is at a 2. And so the doctors tell my mom she could have died.
Right.
With a white blood count that low, she could have died. And that's what caused.
Well, what I did was I opened up
But of course, what she did,
yeah,
and they didn't explain. They couldn't explain why my white blood count. They couldn't find anything. They're like, we just don't know what's going on. And so,
right.
But what did you do?
Right. Well, I opened up the computer and I said, I'm going to look at the side effects.
Well, you said, God, what is going on with my daughter?
Well, that's exactly what I did. I'm there with Kylie, and she's in the other hospital. Kylie's across the street. I'm there with her. And I said, God, what is going on with my daughter? And he spoke to me and he said, open up your computer and look at the severe side effects to the medication. I did. And it just it listed exactly what she was going through. And I got on the phone and I called and I said, let me speak to the doctor, please, because I certainly did not want her back on that medication after what I had seen. And the doctor said, oh, I have no intention of putting her back on that medication. So she then at that point, she goes she was in the hospital for 5 days. She goes into the doctor for a follow-up. And she said, Mother, I can't. I'm
still having panic attacks. I'm still having anxiety. I can't function. Yeah. Like we have to do something else.
Yeah. And so actually it was her PA. She said, well, we're going to put her on a different medication, but in a different classification of antidepressants.
So it shouldn't affect the same way that this medicine affects her brain.
Right. So 2 hours after she took that pill, her husband came in and said,
she's on the floor.
She's on the floor in the bathroom. Well, we were in an ambulance in about 10 minutes on the way to, her heart rate.
My whole body shaking. My heart rate was 140, I believe. 40 something.
Yeah.
But mind you, my normal heart rate resting is in the 50s.
Yeah, low 50s.
Low 50s. Sleeping, it's gotten down to like high 30s, low 40s.
Yeah.
So 140, I felt like it literally was coming out of my chest.
So anyway, we get her to the hospital, and of course we're in the ER, and they're giving her medications to.
Well, they had to knock me out.
Yeah, they had to knock you out for sure. So at that point, we were desperate to find anything because we knew that she could not be on anything else.
No medications.
But we knew that these panic attacks had to stop. Yes. They had to stop.
Well, and so now Young Living, my friend reached out to me and said, Lauren, I know that what's been going on in your life over the last whatever many years, I have something that I think may help you. Would you give me 30 minutes of your time to talk to you about possibly how it can help your daughter and you? And I said, yes, anything. I'll give you an hour. I don't care how much. I want to hear what you have to tell me.
Yes.
Because I'm desperate and I'm willing to try anything. And I always tell people, don't wait until you're desperate and willing to try something out of the box, or that sounds crazy, or that, those magic, or don't wait until you're where we were.
Right.
Because then you're going to be in a really bad place.
Exactly.
We should be supporting our bodies and doing naturalistic stuff and switching stuff out of our homes every single day.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Because what we're doing to our bodies, we have bioaccumulation that's happening in our bodies, and that accumulation's going. And anyways, we'll get to yes. Anyways, so she came over, told us about Young Living, and we were like, oh my gosh, why haven't we heard about essential oils before? Yes, we want to do this. And so I got on board immediately. And then my mom, 2 weeks later, she got on board.
Yeah, because I couldn't sleep. I had so much stress. I was, my story is that my husband, who hasn't been able to work, he's been disabled for about 12 years. Thank God for a nursing license, so I could work. He took care of me for a lot of years. So, but it was very stressful. We lived in the Fort Worth, Dallas area, and I was driving all over creation. And in my early 50s, I could keep up with the pace of the stress. But when I got into my later 50s, it just really began to just catch up with me. And I couldn't sleep. We were living with our daughter and son-in-law.
Because financially a nursing job is.
Yeah, I couldn't support it, just on one salary. And, but the stress was just at times unbearable. And I held a lot of it in because I didn't want my husband to feel inadequate. He already felt bad enough. And so, sleeping, what was sleep, and then you just get up and start all over again. And I just began to pray, God, I'm going to leave this planet prematurely if you don't bring something. I have had 3 ER visits due to stress, and my blood pressure would shoot through the roof. I've never been on any kind of blood pressure medication. I've always thought I was always eating pretty well and exercising, but stress, chronic stress, goes after the weakest organ and weakens the strongest eventually. And so it was when this happened to her, this just escalated my stress, and I didn't want to say that to her. You're trying to be strong for everybody. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't sleep. I was having so much stress, and I looked at her like, oh my gosh, if this will help Kylie, surely they've got something that'll help me.
Right when we got the kit with oils or whatnot, and the Ningxia Red and whatever, I was like, I'm going to
jump right in, everything.
Like, if you tell me this is going to help, okay, let's try all this out.
Yeah.
I mean, I was oiling her up
we're
like
not
crazy.
We're not going to do it like halfway.
Oh no, I don't reach for an oil. Like, yes, I reach for an oil when I'm in need, but I reach for oils every single day as also a preventative and a daily routine that helps my body and supports my body every single day. Just like you take your vitamins every single day, things like that. That's what we do with oils every single day. And so I was oiling her up and oiling me up, and with all the emotional oils that I could, valor and peace and calming. Valor is what really gave me, the Lord Jesus gave me my life back, but valor gave me my life back.
Yes.
And I remember Valor essential oil was
she bathed in it.
I bathed in it. I applied it. I sniffed it all day. I remember the first time I got into the car to drive, I held Valor up on my nose like this and had one hand on the wheel. And I was smelling Valor the entire time
What's really funny, in my armrest, the little compartment, I have Valor like right there. There's a few that we travel with, and they're just right there.
Yeah. So. Or Stress Away. It's like, and you pulled in front of it because what? What reason was that?
Right.
But yes, and within 2 weeks of using the oils every single day on Kylie, she went to the bathroom by herself for the first time. And during the 2 weeks, because
how long had it been now? It's been a while.
Oh gosh, it was almost 2 years.
Yeah, years. I was going to say,
Yeah. When the symptoms started for her, and she was on that medication for at least
a month and a half.
No,
more than that.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 months.
Oh, was it that long? Medication. Well, I was very upset, but anyway.
Yeah, my mom begged me, and I said, "Mom, we can't have. I'm not putting her back in the hospital. Like we'll have her on the medication until we figure out another solution."
So I just prayed.
So the first 2 weeks of using Young Living, we started to slowly wean her off. So those first 2 weeks, we gave her a little bit less every day, a little bit less every day, a little bit, until by the end of the 2 weeks, she was off of it, because you can't stop something like that immediately because the body gets used to it.
Yeah.
Because we had to keep increasing her dose for her to go.
And she's how old today?
10? She's 10 years old today. And
has regular bowel movements on her own. Okay,
we are big talk poopers in this family.
Right.
It's very normal for us to talk about poop
at the dinner table.
Okay, so Kylie will come in, and people watching, sorry, but you're probably used to this talk anyway. Kylie will come in there and be like, "I just went poop, and it was the size of mommy's shoe and an Olivia shoe." Or like she'll explain. I'm like,
I want to talk about something. I want you to talk about something else that you probably didn't think about talking, but it just came to me. So when you had your miscarriage, I want you to talk about, because I really think that this will help others, because when she had her miscarriage, she'd been trying to get pregnant for such a long time. But the emotion that she went through because of that, I just want you to speak to that, because for these oils,
there's oils for everything. Right.
The emotional though, these were great for your emotion.
They hit big some of my emotions. I mean, I use them for immune. I use them for everything under the sun, but I big time use them for my emotional well-being.
Yes.
And so, when we call, so Kylie named our baby Cookie whenever I was pregnant. So I was 10 weeks pregnant with Cookie. And so whenever we lost Cookie, it was very, 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 very hard on me. And it was, almost in the time frame of when it was in the time frame of just getting over the panic attacks, just being healed from that.
Yes.
And then bam, this happens right afterwards.
Right.
And I lose
it was
Cookie.
Horrible.
It was horrible. And I was angry, so angry.
Yes.
And I was crying all the time. And I didn't want to talk to my husband. I was mad at him. It was all these emotions were flooding, and the oils, especially, so joy oil was the one oil that I used,
and frankincense
and lemon,
to
help during that time.
Yes.
So I literally the emotions would come in waves. So I would be just sitting there one moment and then just bawling my eyes out the next. And my husband would be like, "Where's Joy? Where's Joy?" And he would start the diffuser with joy oil. And the moment that joy oil, like it's a blend of specific different oils.
10 different.
the moment that it would hit my olfactory nerve and go up to my limbic system, it would literally I would slowly stop crying, not even thinking about it. Cause I didn't know that he was, it was just the moment that smell hit my, it was instant. Unlike, because why? It passes the blood-brain barrier. Unlike what medications can do and those other things that are put on for, you know, that you use for emotional well-being or whatnot. You want instant relief, instant like change, and something you can feel instantly. Essential oils, because they literally hit the limbic system so incredibly fast. And something that you take orally cannot hit the limbic system, which is our seat of our emotions in our mind.
Absolutely.
Yes. So
it's really interesting too. I was just going to throw this out, and I was trying to just pull up just a couple of quick references too. This has been studied in the literature like ad nauseum. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of studies. And just so that we're clear, and you guys know this, and we talked about this before we got going, I always have a qualification. When I say in the literature, I'm talking about in the indexed medical literature that's published on PubMed.gov, you know, which is readily available, which is basically either the full articles or at least the abstract of every published medical article all around the world that have been accepted into the medical journals. And to get accepted into a medical journal, it's extremely competitive. You know, because it's worth its weight in gold, especially for, and I'm just going to, you know, you guys know I'm blunt to a fault, and say things that might be offensive, but I mean, the majority of the articles that are in there are published by, pharmaceutical companies, right? Because it's just the way, it's the way it works, guys. It's just the way it is. So to have articles published on the olfactory relationship, you know, to, you know, psychological well-being and et cetera. I mean, there's no money there. I mean, there's nobody like with $20 million funding this study. And, you know, some of the people in the journal, you know, committee, you know, they all have, you know, investments in the companies, and, you know, so everybody's patting their pocketbooks. This is just pure science at this point. And I mean, you know, there's a journal called Stress Health. And back in 2016, I love the title here. There is something in the air, which I love, testing the efficacy of new olfactory stress relief method. And they concluded that the effects occurred shortly, just like you said, after very few inhalations, drastically reduced stress-related biomarkers, blood pressure, heart rate, cortisol, and considerably enhanced well-being. Let's see, this one actually, oh boy, what's the journal? This one's a foreign journal, and I think it's called, I'm going to mispronounce it, Scientia Pharmaceutica. So I'm just going to tell you right now, if I got that right, you know, that was by the grace of God alone. But let's see, that conclusion, boy, it's a long article, basically said, based on previous studies, it can be concluded that fragrances directly and or indirectly affect the psychological and here's the cool part, physiological conditions in humans. So what we're talking about there is not just brain, but also the body. And then, you know, jumping over to, and this is another very long article, from Brain Sciences, a huge journal on neurology. And again, these are not, you know, hippy dippy journals. It says the current literature provides emerging evidence that the olfactory stimulation, olfactory training, they call it, is a promising tool for future therapeutic processes. You know, looking at things like the stress response, panic attacks, and not, I mean, like you said, like an instantaneous response. This isn't like, oh man, that smells good, you know. Although, let me be clear, they do smell good. You know, I mean, that's a nice side effect. You know, sometimes with botanical medicines, you know, my kids grew up on they called it Harry Potter medicine, right? Where I'm like, they're like, Dad, it tastes so bad. I'm like, I know, baby, but you got to drink it now. You got to do it, you know. But no, it actually smells good. It feels good, and it changes the physiology and the psychology instantaneously. And I just randomly pulled 3 articles. There are literally hundreds and hundreds of articles saying the same thing over and over again. I'll turn it right back over to you guys.
Well, you know, we're not talking about store-bought essential oils.
Well, yeah.
We need to qualify that. We need to qualify that.
I wanted to qualify that too, because earlier, Lauren said, you know, this was years before these were in the stores, you know, at Target and Bed Bath & Beyond. I don't know
all those people wanted to pop on that. Oh my gosh, essential oils is getting big. Let's make some money, man.
Yeah, we won't name names, but you know, the big brand name oils out there that, you know, they're you know, you get an ounce for like $2, and it's like alcohol with some kind of synthetic in it. I mean, we could talk about
actually, we were talking about that because you bought a lavender plant the other day for like $8, didn't you?
Oh,
and
yeah.
One little lavender plant.
No, at Trader Joe's, I bought a lavender plant for like, no, it was like $13.
Oh, okay.
For $13. And I'm like,
one little plant. And it takes 20.
And I told Mom, I was like, Mom, this plant costs more than that essential oil bottle over there.
Yes.
Right.
It's supposedly pure and genuine and therapeutic.
Exactly.
Right.
One plant.
Right.
One lavender plant does not make a 15 ml lavender oil.
Right.
Right.
It takes 27 square feet
yes.
of plant material
to make one bottle.
To make one pure bottle.
Right.
So that's what the difference is.
Yes.
Right. Well, and there's so many when you do like spectrometry of those oils. I mean,
and a lot of these companies, and we were talking about this earlier, the GCMS reports and whatnot. A lot of the companies that are out there right now and they're blasting social media about here's our GCMS report.
Right.
That is only one test out of like 10 that needs to be done in order to guarantee a therapeutic pure grade essential oil.
Right.
And people can't read GCMS reports. Like I wouldn't be able to read it because I'm not trained in reading it. And
it sounds smart though.
It does.
It sounds smart, right?
Yeah.
But I just want consumers to understand it's a marketing ploy that these other companies are doing, because GCMS, if not done correctly, and if you don't have the proper libraries, and if you don't have the proper technicians, and if you don't have the proper techniques of how to do it for each and every single oil, because how you do it, a GCMS for lavender and how you do a GCMS for frankincense and peppermint and lemon, they're totally different.
Right.
And so, but if you don't have an extensive library to show you how to specifically do that, then you're not going to do it right. And a lot of the times, depending on the oil itself, if the oil's thicker than another oil, so like myrrh, for instance, myrrh is very, very thick. So putting that through the GCMS, the lines of the molecules can actually be very similar. Like one line can be very similar to a synthetic. And so the synthetic can go through and basically be missed if it's not then taken to another test. And I don't know how to pronounce this. We were trying to figure out earlier. I think it's chirol or...
I pronounce it chiral, but I know what you're
saying. Okay,
like,
thank you.
The mirror image.
Yes, it needs to be. It needs to be then put through that machine to then defer, but a lot of the companies don't have that machine.
Right.
They only have the GCMS machine, which only does so much.
Right.
So many other things that need
to be. And what I was going to say is, kind of coming from the natural medicine world and even pharmaceutical world, right?
Yes.
I think what we're talking about is what I would lump together in post-production assays. Right. So what we're talking about is that a product is made and there's very little regulation, and we can pretend there's regulation with pharmaceuticals, and let's just be clear, there's not. We accept that, the company said that that's what's in there and that's what's in there. Right. And nobody's died from it supposedly. So it must be okay. Right. And, or in pharmaceuticals, not too many people have died from it. Yeah. So it's safe. And you guys know my thoughts there, but nonetheless, we're talking about pharmaceutical grade oils here. We're talking about Young Living goes out of its way to say, not only are we using, the plants and we're it's kind of like Apple, end-to-end user control. We know the farms or own the farms for the most part. We know how this stuff is cultivated. We know the processing. We know the temperatures. We know how to extract it. We know, this and that and the other thing. And then finally, here's our end product. And we have, I was going to say 23 different ways to prove that that's what it is. I'm sure there's a number there. I made up 23. I don't know what that number is, but whatever the best industry standards are, whether it be, spectrometry or chemical analysis or this or that or the other thing, we have followed that, whatever those best manufacturing, not just good manufacturing process, but the best manufacturing process. And they stand behind, this is what it is. It's not impure. There's no, I don't know what other word to use. There's no impurities in there. It is what we say it is. It's a pure product. And really, I think the three of us are old enough, even though we're not that old, we're all old enough to say that I think in life, mostly we can get a good deal here and there, but mostly I think you get what you pay for. And when it comes to your
Yeah.
health, I mean, I always make the joke, because people, you know, everyone wants to know, well, how much does it cost? How much does it cost?
Yeah.
And then I say, hey, if you were going in for cardiac surgery,
Right.
you want the Walmart surgeon, you know, for $5.95, and you get a free flu shot with it, though. You know,
Gotta have that free flu shot.
yeah, everybody gets a free flu shot, right? Or do you want to go to the best guy in the world,
Yes.
you know? And I mean, right? And forget about, because people might bargain shop for themselves. Make it your kid, right? So do you want the cheap guy? Do you want the cheapest thing that you can find, or do you want the best that you can find?
Exactly.
And hardly ever are those the same thing.
What do you say? You get what you
get. Well,
you
I
pay
remember when we had that class at your home, and I said, do you eat organically? I was asking this young lady, and she said, no, because it costs more. And I said, well, baby, you're going to either pay for it now, or if you can get your health back later,
you'll pay
for it later.
Right.
You know,
if
so
you can get it
either
back.
way. Yeah, if you can get it back. And here's the thing, God created our body in such a way that if we put good things in our body, it will automatically heal itself. Yeah. And that just blows my mind.
Right.
You know, bam.
Your body can heal itself.
But on the other side of that, if you put bad things into it, guess what's going to happen? Eventually, you're going to end up in the ER. Right. The problem that I have seen is most of the time, God is sending us memos all during our life, memo after memo after memo after memo, and we keep the delete button, delete. And finally, you know, it's kind of like, well, how many more you got coming? Because there's going to be an end to this at some point.
Right. It reminds me of a New Yorker cartoon. I don't really read the New Yorker, but this really stuck out one day. And you know, I don't know if you guys know the New Yorker cartoons, but just for the audience, so they're familiar with it, they're really just a snippet of like a picture of somebody's life real fast, right? With like one line. So it's a guy standing in Times Square, and you know, there's signs everywhere. And all of the signs say, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. And he is looking at the person next to him. He said, I just wish God would give me a sign, you know? And I think that's what we're talking about, right?
Yes.
That's a very good analogy.
Yeah, it's one of the best. It's just great.
I love that.
Yes.
That is
I'll dig it up and post it
everywhere, but you're just like,
yeah.
And we're the gatekeeper of our homes.
Absolutely.
And what we've realized is that it's not just, well, let me just say this. Statistics are through the roof now. I mean, when we talk about since
health.
1950, okay, cancers have gone through the roof. Okay. I'm talking like skin melanoma has gone up 690%. Prostate cancer. I just got a call from a lady yesterday. She's talked to 5 people in the last week that have prostate issues. I mean, come on now. Right. Something is not right. And it's called chemicals. It's called toxins. It's called eating, drinking, breathing.
Right.
Yeah. All of these things. Right. And we've got to come to grips with our lifestyles have got to change.
We're literally poisoning ourselves.
Because there's nothing we can do about out there, but there's something we can do about right here.
Well, and this is a great segue actually. And we didn't, by the way, just for the audience, this is totally unplanned. And we have no idea what we're talking about right now. We're just talking.
Off each other.
So here's the thing. As you guys know, we developed the Epic 5 curriculum. And in the curriculum, Rachel and I are very, very open about this. And I'm going to turn this over to you guys to chat about more in detail. But at our homes, we only use Young Living, the cleaning products, the toothpaste, the mouthwash. I mean, you know, so I would say that there's the household cleaning product. You know, it's not what I'm saying is it's not just oils, right? There's household cleaning products, and then there's health and beauty products, right? And it's not just the oils. And so in our own curriculum, and as you guys know, I don't endorse anything. I mean, the other day I endorsed another company, which was I love the name of these guys, Neurohacker Collective, which I just love. I mean, I just want to endorse them just for that name, right? But they sent me a sample product called Qualia. And I think it's just awesome for the brain. I don't know that it's for everybody, but I think it's good for some people. But nonetheless, we don't endorse anybody for anything. And in our curriculum, the only company that's named is Young Living. They're the only company that's named at all in our curriculum. And it's because it's not just the oils, it's the household products, which I want you guys to talk about, the purity there. And I won't give it away. I'll let you guys talk about it. And then also the health and beauty products. And we, of course, in the curriculum have links like, hey, if you want to learn more about it, click on this link and you can order whatever. And I think that's fantastic. I feel like I had a backup to that, but I'm just going to turn it right over to you guys. Tell us about what else is going on.
What's funny is this morning, because my youngest daughter goes to speech therapy as well. But this morning, every time that we go into the speech therapy, I could always smell instantly when they have Lysol the place. Yes. And it just is awful.
Yes, it's awful.
It's crazy when you clean your home out of all the junk and you finally get your sense of smell back.
Yes, true.
Right.
Because all those years of using all the junk and the chemicals, literally what that does is it burns your olfactory, your little feelers that you have in your nose, it burns them completely. Right. And so anyway, when you finally get that back, we can't even walk down the cleaning aisles anymore without literally getting migraine headaches. And so this morning we're in the speech room and Olivia's eyes just start watering and draining down. She starts sneezing like crazy. Then I start sneezing like crazy. And the speech therapist's like, are y'all sick? And I'm like, no. I'm like, it is the toxic chemicals that are in this room. And so what I did is I busted out a purification oil and I start walking around the room going like this. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm like, I can't, I'm getting a headache already and my kid's sneezing, I'm sneezing. And so, but because we only use one cleaner in our home, well, my mom makes a DIY scrub, which I'll let her, but we only use one cleaner in our home.
Is it Thieves?
Yes, Thieves. Yeah, the Thieves household cleaner from top to bottom, top to top. First off, best cleaner ever.
Absolutely.
And I'm not just saying that. I mean,
it works.
Oh my gosh. My dog threw up everywhere yesterday.
Yeah.
And a couple months ago. And a couple months. I mean, it has, my dogs would not be our dogs anymore if I didn't have Thieves cleaner.
Right.
Like I love my dog.
What's funny about, I did want to say something, because I was going to say, this is tied to something we said earlier. With the Thieves, and I think that we told Lauren this before, we didn't know that you could water it down. So we're using like straight Thieves. And I mean, it worked great. I mean, I'm not going to complain about it at all. And then I think you were like, oh guys, that's like good for like, however, you can really
almost a year.
Yeah, it's like, and we're going through like one a month, or every, whatever.
And you're like, it smells great in my house. And I'm like, oh, no, you dilute it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was going to say is, even though earlier we talked about that you get what you pay for, it's not like we're talking millions of dollars of an investment
it's so inexpensive.
Yeah.
It's concentrated.
Because all the products Young Living has is highly concentrated. Yes. So you can actually dilute it and turn like one laundry detergent into 3.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's so cost affordable.
It is.
Tell me about what you do.
Oh, okay. Well, the scrub. Oh, the scrub. Well, instead of just using the spray bottle that we put the Thieves
for like bathtubs and toilets.
But the things that I really love to do, the product that we're not going to talk about what the name of the product is. Okay. Well, anyway, that product that you get all in your hands where you've got all these pores and get all the toxins in your body.
And it's old fashioned. Y'all remember Ajax, like all those old,
Right.
But anyway, so instead of doing that, I just do a DIY, and what I do is I do baking soda, and I do 1 or 2 capfuls of the Thieves household cleaner, 1 teaspoon of vinegar, white vinegar, and water, and you just stir it up, and it makes a gummy, and it has a really good gritty feel to it, so that you can clean your toilets
or your shower or whatnot.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, I think also taking that, I love that, by the way. Also, just kind of thinking about this, about dogs and kids, and I was thinking about under my sink, right?
Oh, yeah.
And there's so many, I'm stumbling over my words. There's so much to say here. It is dangerous. I mean, people don't realize under their sinks is like, I'm sure, I don't have the statistics in front of me, but I know it causes sickness and death, to children.
Oh, if you look up the poisoning statistics every single year, it will blow your mind.
Yeah.
And what's crazy, people don't realize that our skin has no filter, right?
Right.
Everything that comes in contact with our skin gets absorbed in our skin.
Right.
And so we're walking on the wood floors, we're walking on the top floors, we cleaned our bathtubs with bleach and Lysol, Ajax, whatnot. Then you're going to put kids in your bathtub.
Right.
That stuff doesn't drain off the sides, the residue. You're literally giving your kid a bleach bath.
Right.
And so same with the showers, same with our dogs, their paws. And so when they're walking on the floors, we do DIY carpet cleaning sprays, air fresheners, you name it. I'm
all about saving money. Oh, heck yes. All right. And that is
it's modern America. We all are, right?
Yeah,
right.
I mean that is a big part of when I'm doing a class for someone. The one thing I love to say is, look, I'm not here to steal a bunch of money from you. I am I like to do things very cost effectively. I like to save money. I'm just going to tell you, okay? And the one thing I love about these products is they are so concentrated. You can dilute them so much, and yet you're still going to get the benefit of it.
Right.
And even the foaming hand
soap, the dish soap.
Oh my gosh, I divide that in like 3 or 4 deals.
The kids shampoo and their body gel.
Yes.
You can put inside. You buy a foaming hand dispenser from Amazon. Yep, dispenser from Amazon, and you put a little bit in there. Fill the rest with purified water,
right.
And there you go.
Well, I don't shop at the department stores anymore.
Oh
right.
no.
Young Living has everything that I need for my home, for my body, for my hair, for everything for my face, everything. And so that's where I do my shopping.
It's just transfer buying.
That's all it is.
So people think, I can't afford something else. Well, just stop buying the products that you're already using, and then now just transfer over.
Exactly.
And so slowly over probably a year and a half is I just slowly every single month I would choose one product. Okay, I'm going to remove that product and then choose the Young Living. When I ran out of that, okay, no more buying that product. I'm going to use Young Living. No more buying that product. I'm going to use Young Living.
Right.
That was with our shampoo, our hand soap, everything in my home is non-toxic.
The last class that I did, I had the lady pull out all of her stuff from under her kitchen cabinet. And she brought all of these toxic, she brought all of these toxic products, and we just laid them out there. And I said, you know what? I'm going to make you 2 things. I'm going to make you a spray, a Thieves household cleaner spray for your mirrors, for your for everything in this house, everything. And then I'm going to make you a scrub. These 2 things will replace every toxic thing that you have in your house for $23.
And you asked her how much did all of these cleaners cost you? And she was like, hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting too, because like I said, we really just have committed to the Young Living products at home. And I was thinking about under our sinks right now. And I mean, basically we have the concentrated, bottles and this, and we thank you for helping us save some money there. Thank you. And the only other thing that's under there, and this is the weirdest thing to tell anybody, and I'm just going to let you guys know, there are 4 cans of Coca-Cola. But let me explain. And they're the most toxic thing in our house. I'm going to tell you right now. The kids must have had some friends over. This is the only way I can wrap my head around this, because I know I didn't buy this, right? And so the kids must have had some friends over, and there must have been like 4 Cokes that I found in the fridge one day. And I was going to throw them out. Well, no, we go through that whole thing, like, should we give those away? And I'm like, I'm not going to give that away. We're going to pour them out and recycle the cans. And Rachel said, I actually think we can use those, like if something gets rusty and break up the rust or something, which I think is pretty funny.
Don't lose them.
Are you guys there? Are you there?
Yeah. Yes, we're here.
I lost you for just a half a second. Yeah. But yeah, we use that Coca-Cola. Like if we have like something got rusty, like a piece of metal, and I don't know if you've seen that on YouTube, but it like totally breaks up rust. I don't have anything rusty right now, but I'm kind of looking forward to something rusty to put the Coke on and see if
people drink that. Oh,
I know.
It's
crazy. Well, and the other thing I wanted to mention too, when you were talking about the olfactory gets burned out and it starts to come back, we talked about the benefits of olfactory sensation on the limbic system in the brain, and the psychological effects and the physiological effects. But it goes in the other direction, just what Janet was saying too, that things are either constructive or destructive to your health. And if you're inhaling or absorbing across the skin all those toxins, all those smells, even just the smells, right? It's going to have a negative effect on your psychology and on your physiology. And again, like you said, I think every named disease is on the rise, and maybe perhaps especially in America. I don't know if that's a true statement, but we are a sick country.
We are a very sick country. And when you understand that your liver is the main organ of filtration, and you understand that the organs of the body, are eventually going to start breaking down. If that liver gets congested and can no longer do that, it's going to kick out to the skin. It's going to kick out to, it's trying to kick out to the bladder and kidneys.
A domino effect happens. Yeah. When people have eczema, it's like, what's the underlying reason?
So the main thing is support your body, your systems. That is the main thing, because you want to prevent something before it actually happens. And so the more that we can support through
Absolutely.
supplementation, through organic eating, through drinking good water, through exercise, and sweating, it's a whole
clean up your environment. I think it's the biggest thing.
Cleaning up the environment.
That's
the internal environment and the external environment.
People think that the pollution is bad outside the home. It is actually worse in your home.
Absolutely.
We're breathing more toxic air in your home than you are in traffic in the middle of a city. And so which is and that's statistically proven. Which is crazy. And people think that just if they have, like, let's say air fresheners, right, or they just spray it and you may just smell it, right, you're like, oh, I don't put that on my skin. Those particles are floating in the air. You can't see them, but they're landing on your skin. They're landing on your couch cushions. They're landing on your floor, which your skin is going to come in contact with.
Am I the only one, because I'm 65, am I the only one that used to walk down the aisle of a store and pick up an air freshener, a spray, and do it like this and walk right into it and breathe it straight under?
Absolutely.
I can't even imagine doing that now, but that's the way I used to do it.
You know what? Something else too, I wanted to let you guys know. I was never a big cologne guy, but back when I was young and didn't know any better.
Oh, not bad. It's bad now.
I really thought that women really liked me to smell either like Polo or Obsession. I mean, to really date me, right?
I smell something like that.
So I would drain myself, and like that was a hot date night right there. And listen, they always ended the way that you think that they're going to. Also, let me just say, the Polo didn't do any help there. But what's cool is I don't really wear, cologne. But I get to pick my oils almost like, I don't want to say like, what's my mood? I don't mean that. I'm almost setting my mood. Like, what mood do I want to have through the day? Good. Yeah. And so I'll choose one and, I'll dab a little here, dab a little here, do a little here. And what's funny is I just kind of going through my day and then people will walk by and they're like, oh, what is that?
Yes.
And I'm like, it's
at Starbucks, the cashier behind us was like, it was a boy, by the way, and he was like, do you have rose on? What is that? And I'm like, well, I have a blend with rose in it, but I don't have rose on. I said, but yeah. And I'm like, I put that on this morning. How can you smell it? Like, wow.
Patchouli is a big one. I get that all the time.
And so you should buy the Shutron bar soap.
I'm going to write it down.
Okay. Shutron bar soap. Oh my gosh, that's my favorite bar soap that my husband uses. And every time he's in the shower and he's like, Lauren, can you grab me a new bar soap? And I'm like, and I'll stand there and I'll just smell it. And he's like, give me the soap, Lauren. I'm like, okay.
It's like, that's like me with the toothpaste.
I love the toothpaste.
I can't explain it. It's a different experience. If I can say that, like if brushing your teeth can be an experience and rinsing with the mouth.
Okay, let's talk about that. That.
And I have tried numerous natural toothpaste. I hated all of them.
But let me talk. Thieves. Let me talk about fluoride just a moment. Let's talk about allowing our children, with a warning on the back of their toothpaste. Do not allow them to swallow it. Sure, you're the salivary glands. You don't need to swallow it.
Right.
That's why when they say put things sublingually, it goes.
Yeah, the salivary glands are already going to take it into the bloodstream, so it doesn't matter. They're just doing that to cover themselves. But here's the thing about fluoride, is that foreign countries have already banned that, but we haven't over here, and I know you're aware of that. But here's the thing: kids automatically are going to swallow bubble gum flavored fluoride toothpaste. And imagine, I mean, it is a cancerous.
They have bubblegum flavored mouthwash. They have everything.
She got so sick when I would take her to the dentist when she was a little girl, and the dentist said, you need to swish your mouth with fluoride. She about upchucked all over everything.
My brother made me laugh. And so I swallowed it accidentally.
And she got
so sick just from literally this much of the fluoride drink. I got so sick.
I'm going to tell on her one more time. I'm going to tell on her one more thing because Valor keeps coming to my mind. We were at convention, Young Living's convention 2 years ago, and there were 30,000 people there. Mind you,
I'm claustrophobic.
Yes. But she had not had a panic attack for about 4 years.
Yes.
Okay. It had been about 4 years. Yes. And so we're crammed in. We're trying to get through this gate. There's 30,000 people behind us and all around us.
And I get very claustrophobic very quickly.
And it's 95 degrees. And
I didn't eat well that day, and I didn't drink.
Yeah,
best of all situations, right?
Yeah. So everything was just bound together.
It was. And she looks at me. And she says,
and I grab Mom. I go, Mom, And I start the
And I
breathe.
go, oh my gosh.
And of course, mom goes into like mom mode.
Yes, mom mode.
She grabs me.
So I said, where's your Valor? She goes, I didn't bring it. I said, oh, she said, you don't have it. I said, I have none. So my sister had it. I said, give me your Valor. Give me your Valor. We give it to her in a minute.
So I'm like that. I'm standing there and I'm like, my heart's going like crazy.
Yeah,
I'm holding it like this, and literally a minute and a half, it just slowly
right up.
Right.
And then done.
Yep.
And then done. And so
what a testimony.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
And you know what? I have to say that there are so many people with anxiety and stress and panic.
Oh my
and
God.
I mean, it's just gone through the roof.
Right.
You know, and
so many kids getting diagnosed with anxiety at such a young age, but then being put on medication.
I want to go back and say this, okay? We're not talking about just any oils. We're not talking about store-bought oils.
But you won't
that
have
promise
that
you all
effect.
kinds of stuff over there.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, you don't even know what you're inhaling at that point.
You have no clue. The synthetic.
You cannot buy a lavender for $10. You can't buy a rose.
Right.
$15. You can't buy a frankincense for $8.
No.
These things last forever. You're not like
Yeah, they
dumping
do.
the oil in. It's like a drop. You know?
Yeah.
And just like, so with the panic attack, I didn't even apply the oil.
No.
I just
Breathe it,
inhaled it.
That's what
So I
do
didn't
too
even
sometimes.
use a drop of oil.
Exactly.
I just inhaled it.
And you know, one thing that I love about this too
He's
is
looking up something I can see.
oh yeah,
No,
that's good.
I'm not. I was thinking. That's what I was
One
thinking
thing I
about.
love about this.
Actually, I'll be honest. What I was just thinking about, I think that I was trying to count how many diffusers we have in our house, which is really funny because we have one in the kitchen. We have one in our, like, I don't know if it's called a living room or whatever people call it, but the family room. We have one in the bedroom, in our office at home, in all the bedrooms, and also in 4. We bought a fixer-upper house, and it came with 5 bathrooms. It's nuts. Like, who needs 5 bathrooms, right? Which sounds awesome, except for cleaning them, right?
Yes.
Right. And so again, it's like anyway, I don't know. At any rate, we have 4 of the 5 bathrooms have diffusers in it, and I mean it's so cool. And
that's the way we roll.
Yeah, it's the way we do it. You know, I didn't even realize until you guys were just talking. That's what I was thinking about. I was like, we have a lot of diffusers, you know.
So do we. I don't see a problem with that.
Right.
One of the things too that people need to understand is these oils, the vitality oils for Young Living, you can ingest them.
Yep.
Okay. And ingestion is so amazing because you can put them in a capsule to ingest them. You can put them in water or whatever. The vitality line, you can cook with them.
Right.
You know,
I just made pecan pie tonight with clove and cinnamon bark oil.
Nice.
I'll do sweet potatoes
And I'm doing
tomorrow.
pecan pie tomorrow.
And there's something, you know, like my tummy is a whole lot better than it's been forever. But you know, everybody gets a dodgy tummy once in a while. Right. And I'm gonna say I think I'm a good doctor, but I'm a bad doctor for this guy. Like it's like I lose all perspective, and I'm like, my tummy, you know. And Rachel's like, here, and I don't remember. I'm also really bad with names.
Probably digest.
That's what it is, the digest. Yeah. And she's like, just you know, right on the tongue. Yeah. And then you know what's funny? I'm also a dude, and so I'm like, oh great. And then like 10 minutes later, I forgot that my tummy was off, and I'm like off doing my stuff. And then she's like, did that work? And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess it did, because I'm totally fine now, you know. So anyway.
Well, you know, like the American Express card, they say never leave home without it. You never leave home without Digest.
Right,
No.
right.
Okay.
I hear you.
I take that. I use Digest every time I have a plane ride. So every event that I go to or I speak at, I always do Digest under my tongue, because I get that bloated feeling that's really bad. And so that helps to eliminate that. And of course, like the gastro doctor that I've been to in the past, I was like, man, I get so bloated on airplanes. And he's like, that shouldn't cause that. And I'm like, really? It does cause it. Like, it does cause it.
I like when your experience is completely invalidated. Like, that can't be right.
And I'm like,
I think you're wrong about your experience. You know?
I'm like, every time I fly though, it happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no, it doesn't happen because they cabin pressure. And I'm like, okay.
Right.
Right.
Well, guys, listen, we are out of time, and I appreciate your time tonight. I do just want to say this very quickly. If anybody in the audience today wants to learn more about oils, I'm gonna put a plug in here too, and also kind of out ourselves. Go ahead and just email Rachel, Rachel@epicfnc.com, or if you're an active client, by all means, you can just send a message through the portal and we'll help out. I'm going to be super honest here and transparent. And also, by the way, I wanted to thank you guys for being completely, open and transparent and sharing your stories. Rachel and I are avid users of Young Living oils. However, there's a business side to this. And I'm going to be really honest about this. And Lauren and Janet know this. We're horrible at the business side of it. Like I don't know anything about it. I'm going to be really honest. I don't know anything about it. But I will say that, Janet was, and I was going to share this earlier. Janet was able to basically retire from that, 15 different nursing jobs that she was doing, trying to keep her family afloat in about 10 and a half months, just with business structure. And Lauren is, I don't know what your, like super diamond level or whatever that is, but I mean, these guys know business, and Rachel's a direct connection to these guys. And so anything, like I said, I don't know about it. That's just not our specialty, so to speak. We're here to just connect people, but there is a business side to this, and people are able to make complete livings off of this.
Oh, absolutely.
And what's cool is that you're helping yourself, you're helping your friends, you're transforming lives. And it's good purpose, purpose-driven work. Like I said, we're all on this planet, I think, to love and support and help each other. So again, if you have any questions or want to know more, anything else, get a hold of Rachel.
I'm local in Coralville, North Liberty, and so if anybody wants to host a class
for a little bit longer, right?
Yes, and probably June. So if anyone wants to, we do classes and whatnot. So if anybody wants to have a class and share in their homes with their family and friends, please reach out to Rachel and she can connect you. I would love to come and do a class for you and your family and your friends.
That'd be great. Thank you guys for your time. Listen, God bless you guys. And listen, I also want to say, thank God everything turned out like it did, because I don't know if you saw, I was almost in tears a number of times in your story. And I'm glad that we had some, levity here at the end. But listen, your story is so compelling. I love you both so much, and I love your purpose and your passion, and it just aligns so well with Rachel and I, and our purpose and our passion. And listen, thank you for your time tonight. And listen, and I'll talk really soon. You know that we will. All right. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.